You have retired military in this community surrounding this compound, and you have ISI agents, as I understand, in the area as well. This was not a normal house. It really was a large compound, very heavily fortified, very suspicious looking, in a very sort of military area. It leads me to the question, our relationship with Pakistan, and where do we go from here? Because in my judgment, it's hard for anybody to believe that they didn't know he was there. And the question is, at what level did the Pakistan government know about this? And, as I believe that either they're complicit or they're incompetent. Either they're complicit with providing material support to the most wanted terrorist by providing him a safe haven, or they're totally incompetent to not know he was there. So with that, let me just throw that question out first to you, Mr. Coll, in terms of what is your assessment of this picture, and how does this affect and impact our relationship with a very dicey country, Pakistan, who has been known to proliferate nuclear weapons?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. First, I'd associate myself with your observations and analysis. I think you've described the picture well. The circumstantial evidence about the house in Abbottabad raises very disturbing questions about the knowledge that almost certainly must have been present in at least some sections of the Pakistani government about this unusual compound. I hope that over time we will discover more about how far up the chain of command in Pakistan such knowledge might have gone. Just a couple of quick observations about the compound. Pakistan has one of the lowest rates of tax participation in the world, even for a poor country. And one of the reasons why official tax participation is so low is that if you build $1 million house in the middle of a security town, someone knocks on your door and says, "I have a way for you to avoid taxes, and that is put me on your payroll." The person who knocks on the door is almost always at least a regional official of the government, the police. And in a town like Abbottabad, it certainly raises the question of whether ISI wouldn't have been involved in such a racket. ISI is best understood as a criminal enterprise as well as a security agency. It's involved in many rackets around the country. Secondly, it's important for Americans to understand, I think, that the ambiguity and the nature of the haven that bin Laden found in Pakistan is not by itself unusual in the country. From India's perspective, there are 5 or 6 listed terrorists living around the country in similar circumstances. Sometimes they're judged to be under house arrest. Sometimes they're notional fugitives. Sometimes they really are difficult to find. But many of these people have either admitted to or been credibly charged with mass killings on Indian soil. And so these patterns look outrageous to the United States when the personality is someone like Osama bin Laden, but in the context of the way Pakistan has evolved over the last 10 years, his circumstances were not by themselves unusual. Just on the question of what it poses by way of challenge to the United States and Pakistan, I think it's a useful wake-up call to both sides. The fundamental problem, as you point out, is that the Pakistani military and intelligence service has not been held accountable over a long period of time adequately by its partners or by its own people. And it's made it difficult for its own people to hold the services accountable by often ruling directly or suppressing those who question the military supremacy. But I think for the United States, this is an opportunity to come to more effective grip with the facts that the United States and Pakistan do not always see these very important security questions the same way, and to try to hold Pakistan's military to greater account, even while acknowledging the sacrifices that its soldiers have made in their own war on terrorism and the shared interests that will endure between the two countries.